Chapter 31. In this chapter, Hemadpant describes the passing away of certain persons and a tiger in Baba's presence. The last wish or thought that a man has at the hour of death determines his future course. Sri Krishna has said in the Bhagavad Gita that he who remembers me in his last moments comes verily to me, and he that meditates otherwise at that time goes to what he looks for. We cannot be certain that we can entertain a particular good thought at our last moment, for more often than not, we are more likely to be frightened and terrified by many causes. Hence, constant practice is necessary for enabling us to fix our mind on any desired good thought at any or the last moment. All saints, therefore, recommend us to always remember God and chant His name, so that we may not be puzzled when the time for departure comes. The devotees on their part surrender themselves completely to the saints, fully believing that the all-knowing saints would guide and help them in their last moments. A few such cases will be noted here. A Madrasi sannyasi named Vijayanand started on a pilgrimage. En route, hearing Baba's fame, he halted at Shirdi. There he met one Somadeva Swami of Hardwar and inquired of him about the particulars of his planned trip. The Swami told him that it was about 500 miles above the Gangotri and described to him the difficulties of the journey, with plenty of snow and the changes of dialect and the suspicious nature of the people of Bhutan, who give a lot of trouble to the pilgrims on the way. Hearing this, the sannyasi was dejected and canceled the trip. Then, when he went to Baba and prostrated himself before him, Baba got enraged and said, "Drive out this useless sannyasi. His company is of no use." The sannyasi did not know Baba's nature. He felt discomforted, but sat there watching things that were going on. It was the morning darbar, and the masjid was overcrowded. Baba was being worshipped in various ways. Some were washing Baba's feet, some taking the tirth, the holy water, from his toes and drinking it, and some touching their eyes with it. Some were applying sandal paste and some scents to his body. And all were doing these things forgetting the distinction of caste and creed. Though Baba got enraged with him, he was filled with affection for Baba, and he did not like to leave the place. He stayed in Shirdi for 2 days when he got a letter from Madras stating that his mother was very ill. He felt very dejected and wanted to be by his mother's side, but he could not leave without Baba's permission. So he saw Baba with the letter in hand and asked for Baba's permission to return home. The omniscient Baba, knowing the future, said to him, "If you so loved your mother, why did you take sannyasa? Fondness or attachment become an ochre garb. Go and sit quiet at your lodging. Wait with patience for a few days. In the Wada there are many robbers, bolted doors. Be very vigilant. The thieves will carry everything. Wealth and prosperity are transient, and the body is subject to decay and death. Knowing this, do your duty, leaving all attachment to the things of this world and the next. For he who does this and surrenders himself to the feet of the Lord will get free from all troubles and attain bliss. The Lord runs and helps him who remembers and meditates on him with love and affection. Your store of past merits is considerable, so you have come here. Now attend to what I say and realize the end of your life." Being desireless, begin from tomorrow the study of Bhagavad. Do 3 saptas, 3 readings during the 3 weeks, conscientiously. The Lord will be pleased with you and destroy your sorrows. Your illusions will vanish, and you will get peace. Seeing that his end was approaching, Baba prescribed that remedy and made him read the sacred text which pleases the god of death. The next morning, after bathing and other purifying rites, he commenced to read Bhagavad in a secluded part in the Lendi garden. He completed 2 readings and thereafter felt much exhausted. He returned to the Wada and stayed in his lodging for 2 days, and on the 3rd day he breathed his last on Fakur Baba's lap. Baba asked the people to preserve the body for a day for a good reason. The police afterwards came, and on making proper inquiries gave permission for the disposal of the body. It was buried in a proper place with due rites. In this way, Baba helped the sannyasi and ensured him salvation. Sadgati. There was a householder devotee of Baba by the name of Balaram Mankar. When his wife passed away, he got dejected and, entrusting his household to his son, left his home and came to Shirdi and lived with Baba. Being pleased with his devotion, Baba wanted to give a good turn to his life, and Baba did this in a wise way. He gave him 12 rupees and asked him to go and live in the Mashinagrad district. Mankar was first unwilling to go and stay away from Baba, but Baba convinced him that he was giving the best course for him and asked him to practice meditation 3 times a day on the Gada. On believing in Baba's words, Mankar came to the God. He was much pleased with the lovely sight, pure water, healthy air and surroundings of the place, and began to practice assiduously the meditations as recommended by Baba. After some days, he got a revelation. Generally, bhaktas get revelation in their samadhi or trance states, but in Mankar's case, he got it when he came down to his ordinary consciousness from his trance. Baba appeared to him in person. Not only that, Mankar saw him, but he also asked Baba why he was sent there. And Baba replied, "In Shirdi, many thoughts and ideas began to rise in your mind, and I sent you here to rest your unsteady mind. You thought that I was in Shirdi with a body composed of the 5 elements of a certain height, and not outside of it. Now you see and determine for yourself whether the person you see here and now is the same you saw at Shirdi. It is for this reason that I sent you here." Then, after the period was over, Mankar left the Gada and proceeded to his native place, Bandra. He wanted to travel by rail from Pune to Dadar, but when he went to the booking office to get a ticket, he found it very much crowded. He could not get his ticket soon, when a villager with a piece of cloth on his waist and kambali on his shoulder turned up and said, "Where are you going?" And Mankar replied, "To Dadar." And the man said, "Please take this Dadar ticket of mine, as I have some urgent business here. I have cancelled my Dadar trip." Mankar was very glad to receive the ticket and was just taking out money from his pocket when the rustic disappeared in the crowd. Mankar tried to find him out in the crowd, but in vain. He waited for him till the train left the station, but found no trace of him. This was the 2nd revelation Mankar got in a strange form. The Mankar, after visiting his home, again returned to Shirdi and remained there at Baba's feet, always following Baba's bidding and advice. In the end, he was very fortunate to leave this world in the presence and with the blessing of Baba. Hemadpant gives no particulars regarding this Nulkar, except the bare mention of the fact that he got up his ghost in Shirdi. A brief summary of his account that appeared in the Sai Leela magazine is given. His name was Tacha Sahib Mulkar, and he was a sub-judge at Pandharpur in 1909, when Nana Sahib Chandokar was there, but both of them met and exchanged talks. Tacha Sahib did not believe in saints, while Nana Sahib loved them. Nana Sahib often told him of the leelas of Sai Baba and pressed him to go to Shirdi and see Baba. He finally agreed to go to Shirdi on two conditions. The first, he must get a Brahmin cook, and the second, he must get Nagpur oranges for presentation. Both these conditions were providentially fulfilled. A Brahmin came to Nana Sahib for service, and he was sent to Tacha Sahib, and a fruit parcel with 100 beautiful oranges was received by Tacha Sahib, the consignor being not known. As the conditions were fulfilled, Tacha Sahib had to go to Shirdi. At first Baba was much enraged with him. But by and by, Tacha Sahib got such experiences that he was convinced that Baba was God incarnate. So he was enamored of Baba and stayed there till his death. As his end was approaching, sacred literature was read out to him, and at the last hour, Baba's Pada Tirth was brought and given to him for drinking. Baba, on hearing of his death, said, "Oh, Tacha went ahead of us. He won't be reborn." The story of Megha has already been described. When Megha died, all the villagers followed the funeral procession. Baba also accompanied them and showered flowers on Megha's body. After all this was performed, tears flowed from Baba's eyes, and like an ordinary mortal, Baba showed himself overcome with grief and sorrow. Then, covering the body with flowers and crying like a near relative, Baba returned to the masjid. Many saints have been giving sadgati or salvation to men, but Baba's greatness is unique. Even a cruel animal like a tiger came to Baba's feet for being saved. It is this story which will be now narrated. 7 days before Baba passed away, a wonderful incident occurred at Shirdi. There came a country cart and stopped in front of the masjid. A tiger was on the cart, fastened with iron chains, with its fierce face turned to the rear. It was suffering from some pain or agony. Its 3 keepers were taking it from place to place and making money by exhibiting it. It was the means of their subsistence. They tried all sorts of remedies to cure it from the malady it was suffering from, but all was in vain. Then they heard of Baba's fame and came to him with the animal. They got it down, the chains in their hands, and made it stand at the door. It was naturally fierce, besides disease-ridden, and it was restless. The people began to look at it with fear and amazement. The handlers went in and told Baba everything about the animal, and with Baba's consent brought it before him. As it approached the steps, it was taken aback on account of the luster of Baba and hung its head down. When both saw each other, it got on the step and looked at Baba with affection. Immediately it moved the tuft of its tail and dashed it 3 times against the ground, and then fell down senseless. On seeing it dead, the handlers were much dejected and full of sorrow, but on mature thought they came to their senses. They considered that as the animal was diseased and nearing its end, it was very meritorious on its part that it should meet its death at the feet and in the presence of Baba. It was their debtor, and when the debt was paid off, it was free and met its end at Sai's feet. When any creatures bow down their heads at a saint's feet and meet death, they are saved. And unless they have got a good store of merit on their account, how could they get such a happy ending? Bow to Sri Sai. Peace be to all.